What's real? Reality. Let's go. Bullets travel like gossip, running in mouth like leaky faucets. Two-faced niggas be stealing ideas and nothing solid. Grown men and their feelings debating on true intentions.
Recording, God?
Yeah.
That's what it is. All right, another session of Guess How Said. And this one is dealing with gender roles. I'm your host, Adam Hill.
Because the governor.
And
Jaquan.
Oh, you gotta come up with a better, slicker name than Nick Quan, but we gonna rock with it. Gender roles. All right, you scared? Say you scared. Right now is your time to back off, back away. Are you scared of the feminists and all these other agendas and movements? This is not for you. So who's gonna kick it off? You already know how I feel about it.
Don't hit my YouTube stuff.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Man and woman.
Yeah.
I won't put myself in the hot water yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go.
All right. I guess I'll be on the chopping block. Had a conversation earlier with Pacific Person. They know who I'm talking about. And I was saying in general, I was like, the man has a role and the woman has a role. And when that role is altered or when one is not playing his part, there's a whole bunch of confusion going on and it leaves room for, let's say, disorder, right?
Yep.
And I call myself, I actually trapped the person in the argument. So this individual, he said, well, I don't want to, how can I put it? And he can chime in if I'm quoting him wrong. You know what I'm talking about. He said, I don't want to control my woman. You didn't say control, did you? That's a horrible word, right? Not control. You said if my girlfriend or wife want to choose to wear what she want to wear and go outside with it, right? I don't. Okay, now I remember. I said a man could take advice from his wife, right? Or his significant other spouse, right? His female significant other spouse. He could take advice from her, right? But at the end of the day, he has the last say so. You get what I'm saying? Now, if his decision making was wrong, then he should go back to his wife and say, you know what, baby, honey, whatever nickname you give her, give her, you were right. You know what I'm saying? But it's an ill twist to it when this, the man who doesn't have a backbone is when he allow his wife to have the last say so, meaning that he don't have no say so in the matter, like who's wearing the pants in the house, who's control, if you're gonna look things from a biblical standpoint, it says God, and the Bible says God, husband, church, wife, or something like that. Girl, you probably help me out with that. But
Something like that.
I know in Islamic stand it has, you have Allah,
Mm-hmm.
you have the prophet, you have the husband, then you have the wife, right? So my thing is, what's the word? Hierarchy.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Okay. From what I see what you're saying.
The hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
The hierarchy. This is why we have so much chaotic things going on in the world, and the woman has lack of not only a father figure or a father in the house, but if she do have males in the house, they're not displaying the rightful conduct that a man should display in running his household for the better, right? So it's the thing I have with liberalism, right? Is if it did have some type, I'm not an expert in it, right? But if it did have some type of good intent in the beginning, it's no more. And it showed this ugly face, right? Because now you have this movement where women say, I don't need no man, right? Or if a man is playing his role, he is paying the bills, or let's say he allows his wife to help him out with the bills, but he's paying majority of the state of the bills, right? She still don't have the respect for him. if he don't have the last say so. What else? Not to get too far off track. When I told a certain individual, he said, "Well, you know, I don't want you know." He could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to have the last say so, or she can have the last say so. So I said, well, what if she leaves the house in a matter that's what's the word I'm looking for? When she's wearing too much loose clothes, right? Like her mini skirt is high up. You can see her panty lining, her blouse is showing, and he said, well, that's what she want to wear. She can feel free to wear it, right? I said, so you wouldn't have a say so in how she want to wear it. I said, so this how I trapped him. I said, what if you have a 10-year-old daughter, right? And she decided she wanted to put on something to wear. You would stop her, right? He said, yeah. I said, okay, but what about your wife then? Because you had the same guardianship and protection of her. It's not about towering over her. It's about protecting your woman and protecting her from harm and danger. Because sometimes women, this is why God put us in a position, because it's for a certain reason. Because if you don't govern your house, you're going to have anarchy. You get what I'm saying? She's going to be able to do whatever she wants. Go out, and this is the fact we're seeing now. When you go on IG, right, and you see, I send you some of these clips. It's horrifying, right? You see these young as 5 years old singing little ratchet songs. And the first thing the guy say in the comment, oh, that could be my daughter. That could be my daughter. But guess what? She was someone else's daughter before, or that child, or the one who's singing the song that the young girl is mimicking is somebody's daughter.
Right.
So she had a rightful structure in her home. You wouldn't have this type of looseness in society. Because believe it or not, what we hear, what we see, right, has an effect on us.
True.
Has an effect on us.
It's a combination. It's
Yes.
like the man is the head and the woman's like the heart. You know what I mean? You got too much head with, it's only thinking. The kid needs some compassion too. You know what I mean? That way she's real good with that. And when it comes to too much heart, not recognizing like the ills that it come to it, like say, especially the fact that a girl, like you let your 10-year-old daughter look like she might be promiscuous at an early age, right?
That's the word I'm looking for.
Right. So if you got her looking like that, you don't, like, say from the male standpoint, we all understand that, what that looks like and what it makes you want to think about and what other guys would think about, not even you know what I mean? So now the mother would probably say something like, oh, come on, it doesn't mean nothing. It's just let her, she's just expressing herself. It doesn't mean anything. It makes her.
She want the attention.
Yeah, she liked the attention. It makes her feel good when you see all these people looking at her direction. She's getting attention that she never got before. That's one thing that they like to say. But we see it from the other standpoint, because we know that there's good guys and there's also bad guys that are like predators. She's opened herself for a certain vulnerability. You know what I mean? So now from that, especially from a daughter standpoint, but when you're talking about like someone that's your significant other, girlfriend, wife, you know what I mean? I understand where the hesitancy to want to not do that, because you don't want to look like the tyrant of the house. You know what I mean? Because that's the one thing, because that's the way that they portray. They portray that.
Yeah.
They portray you trying to protect, like the same way you would look over the kid. The teacher would nowadays would tell you that by you not wanting them to hear certain things or certain ideologies, that you are harming that child by not letting them indoctrinate them. You know what I mean? So it's wild how that whole game is being played right now. But with these roles, but I think that in the way that it was intended was the way that it was written early on in the game, whether you look at it from a biblical or a Quranic standpoint. You know what I mean? Because when it comes down to it, they both have it where God at the top, man, and the family.
The family.
So let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys something. So outside of the Quran and the Bible, is there any justification for that type of hierarchy in terms of man being on top and being the leader of the household, so on and so forth? Would you guys still agree that the hierarchy is justified?
Yeah, because even when you look at it from how agnostics or atheists look at it, right, or economists, they look at it, right, they also look at it as man being the head, and the man has a certain role in leadership, and the woman has her role, right? It's not saying that she's less, right, but she has her role, and if you sacrifice your role that you are meant to play, you play it well, you play it good, and you give it to her role, which is taking her out of her comfort zone, then it's not going to work well. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like I came from a single parent household, right? No father in it, right? And no disrespect to my uncles, I'm sure they did their best for however they did, but not only that, I didn't got that advice or learned that leadership, how a man should run his household, the role of a man. I got the watered down version of the version that a woman gave me. You know what I'm saying? And throughout that span, I handled things or reacted and communicated emotionally. When men, we're taught that we're supposed to be taught to talk things out, settle it, the 15 minutes or less rule. All right, man, that's what happened. Peace, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on. Where a female, you could be sitting there, we all have witnessed this, you could be sitting there for 2 to 3 hours, and she's chasing a tail around the topic. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And you're saying, like, I got it. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I got it an hour ago. Let's move on.
Now you in a fool.
So not to stray too much off topic, but my thing is, me personally, right? How I prefer and like to be the hierarchy. How it was presented in the Quran, the Bible, how man in society outside of them realms presented. You get what I'm saying? Once I allowed that woman, and this is where her natural, it's an urban word called fitra, her natural way of that nature made her, right? Once you sacrifice that hierarchy, a real woman is going to let you know. Even these women, quote unquote, of the day to say that they don't need a man, or this movement where, I don't want to name certain artists, but these females, these liberal, I don't need a man, and the man can only do this for me type of movement, right? Within their true nature, right? If something too heavy to lift, they say, I need a man, that's a man's job.
Or case in point, the whole argument about the fact that women are now paying child support and alimony.
They don't like that. Right. They don't like that.
My thing is like, okay, so I hear you guys, but my main question is, how much of what we perceive as being feminine and masculine is due to nature versus nurture? Because some of the things that I hear sounds more like it's been nurtured. Like men, little boys, for instance, aren't encouraged for us, from very early on to express their emotions. If they express their emotions, they're told, folks say, oh, that stop being a little girl, stop being stop being a bitch. Yeah. So like,
who's saying it though?
No, but it's everybody. It's society. It's not one person or another person. It's echoed by religiously. It's echoed in politically. It's economic in our education. It's economic in our family structures and that hierarchy. So like, like nature, you could see, like physically, there's differences between men and women, and the fact that men can't have babies and women can, and women have cycles and they can't. Men are stronger and women are less stronger, but that doesn't that but I would argue that we are mostly similar than dissimilar,
Right.
and the places where we aren't probably has more to do with nurture than nature. And so like, okay, so for leadership roles, I
Mhm.
think that leadership tends to be something that is developed. No one is okay, so maybe there are some natural born leaders, but most people, leadership isn't something that happens
Skills
overnight.
that are
That's
taught. You gotta
something
skills to learn to be a leader.
that
Well,
is
okay.
learned, it's developed. You know what I mean? To learn, you learn to how to, as a leader, how to handle your emotions and how to communicate and how to inspire folks and how to, control things and manage things and so on and so and strategize and so on and so forth. That doesn't happen overnight. So you know, to and maybe men, because of their nurturing, may have more tendencies to be better at that, because we're not encouraged, like we are encouraged to be more, we're not encouraged to be overly emotional, and we are encouraged to be a little bit more logical and practical about things,
Because us to make better decisions, better
which cause,
leadership decisions.
but it
Yeah,
depends on what.
let me say this real quick because I want Quan to speak on it real quick. I'm gonna let you cook.
Okay.
I remember I sent you something where a young girl, she was like 2 or 3 years old, and she was singing a ratchet song, right? And I remember you responded. You said that could be my daughter, right? And you said, okay, that's you taking a leadership role. What if that was your daughter? What if that was your daughter and you were married? And what if your wife said, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna post this up and she's gonna go viral? Do you think that your leadership at that time, right, as the protector and maintainer, will be undermined? You're gonna let her in the forefront. You're gonna let her go on with the video. I know you're not.
No, well, the reason, like, so
come in.
So the reason I wouldn't, I'll own that, is that I wouldn't allow my 10-year-old daughter to be twerking or ratchet, being ratchet on the internet, for a couple of reasons. One, for privacy. One, for I don't want my child to be sexualized, and I understand that there's predators out there and pedophiles out there, and that's not how, a 10-year-old child should be focused on being a child, not.
Why would you want your wife to do the same thing if you're supposed to be the protector and provider and leader of your household?
Because I don't want
to. The same qualities that you mentioned with your daughter, right?
Yeah.
You love your daughter, and one day she's going to be what? Somebody's wife, or she's going to have a significant other, right? So you want to groom her. You're the leader in that sense of a man, where you groom her to respect herself, right? Although your significant other saying the opposite. You want to groom her to respect herself. So shouldn't that same ideology goes with your wife if you love her? Would you want
Let me clarify though.
Would you want her to deal with the predators, the sickos, the rapists? You get what I'm saying? Would you want her to put herself in harm's way? That's what I want.
Let me clarify this. I'm not concerned about so much the self-respect thing, because I think, like, no matter what you wear, like one of our sessions before, I was mentioning, like, I don't really care too much what you like. You can wear whatever you want. Men should still give you the same respect. But now, if they don't, I understand, like, to some degree. But my main concern is, I don't want you to be preyed on by predators and pedophiles and so on and so forth. I don't want you to be sexualized. I want you to be a child. Now, when it comes down to my woman, I think it comes down to like, I'm reluctant to do that same thing, because we're adults. We're both adults. I don't want to treat you like property. I don't want to make. I trust that you are, that you have the capacity and understanding to make responsible decisions. So if you want to go out and for some reason you want to feel sexy for the day, I may not be entirely enthused about it.
So you said you don't want her to feel like property, but you make the daughter feel like property.
It's not. I'm not making my daughter my daughter. If I have a 10-year-old daughter, I'm interested in making sure that she's safe, and that
the same thing you should feel for your wife.
But it's two different things. You have someone who has no who has a limited awareness of the world, right? Who's just who's still wet behind the ears.
Okay,
it's all different when you have an adult. You know what I mean?
How do you know, due to your wife coming up and being groomed, right, that she she has a limited awareness, or she wouldn't do what she do?
It's possible.
Is it your duty to say? Is it your duty to say, look, let me sit down and give you some knowledge of self?
Yeah.
You shouldn't dress this way. You shouldn't do this. Now you're an adult. At the end of the day, you're gonna do what you want to do. That don't mean I had to agree with it, and that don't mean that I had to sit around long enough to endure it. You get what I'm saying? So
now,
it's just like she want to go to clubs, right?
Yeah,
she want to drink and come home 3 o'clock in the morning. You're not going to approve of that, bro.
No. I'm not. I mean, I'm not. But what I'm saying is that there isn't.
Oh, real quick, I'm gonna let y'all cook. I'm gonna let y'all cook first. I gotta let Quan cook. But what does she say? What does she say? I'm a grown woman. I do what I want. Although you're paying the bills, right? You help you putting food in her mouth. You're protecting her, because if somebody kicking the door, you're gonna be the first one to jump up and you're a real man. You're gonna hide behind your woman, baby. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, she coming in the house 3 o'clock. She's doing whatever. She's undermining your authority and your role in the house. You're no longer a man. You're just a male sitting there in the house. That's it. You're no longer a man. You get what I'm saying? The same, that's what I want you to get. The same protection and care that you would have for your little girl that's going to become a woman, that she's going to grow up and marry or have a significant other one day. It's the same thing you would want for your sister, your niece, and especially your wife.
But the difference is...
Go on, I'm going to let Quan cook real quick. I'm going to get back with you. I got to let Quan cook. Girls, and get back to y'all. I'm going to let y'all cook. I just said enough. I think I made my point. Quan, so what's the business? What you think? You've been quiet.
I think these days, in this generation, that both genders are proven to be very unique in their own way, and very, especially women. Women are very unique these days compared to past generations. How they dress, their style, their attitude, and everything like that. I do also think that women should still have modesty. If you are going out the house and you want to express yourself with modesty. Modesty never hurts to express yourself. And also, one thing, I do believe that the traditional beliefs should still be installed into the household, because that's just the thing that's going to keep the man, the woman, and the kids happy. Now, again, I do believe that women, I feel like personally, whether they're Muslim, whether they're Christian, whether they're non-Christian or Muslim, if they want to express themselves a little bit than just being the average woman, whatever that is, I feel like they should, but with modesty. Everything should be done with modesty. And the same goes with men. And same thing goes with men. And I think both genders should respect each other for different reasons. You know, I think things like same pay is okay. You know, same pay with women and same pay with men. I think things like equal opportunities and jobs and stuff like that. I think some things that women are limited in, and some things that guys are limited in. So I think it's not really too much like complication to go with it, to be honest. But my main thing is that women, if they want to express themselves, if they want to do things, those things should still be in the realm and space of being a woman, but also being modest. So that's all I have to say about that.
And no, the husband don't come from a sense of a tyrannical sense. He's coming from a sense of he wanting the best for you, like Gov mentioned, that he doesn't want you in any danger. You get what I'm saying? It's just like when you tell a person, you know what, man, you know, me personally, I don't drink, but I don't want you drunk too much, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, catch a cab.
It's a bad look.
Man.
Right.
Yeah. I do what I want to do, man. Next thing you know, he on the news, he done ran up somebody's tree and killed himself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like telling the same thing I would tell my child, you know, my daughter or my niece or whatever, to not, you know, stay away from drugs, or give them some type of knowledge of self, meaning like, this is going to harm your body. You go to this place, it's dangerous. You get what I'm saying? And the same, if I had that care for the individual, and they know I'm coming from a place of safety and protection. My role is to protect. You get what I'm saying?
True.
This,
But there's another level of protection too, though. Like back to say the girlfriend. Say you got a girlfriend. And she like to dress a certain type of way. Work wise. Say she go to work. You know what I mean? There's a certain level of respect that you kind of lose when you're looking a certain type of way versus looking the professional, quote unquote professional. You know what I mean? Like say you go to like back to the business thing, customer service. A lot of time it starts before they even say anything. A lot of time they looking at you and they judge by your appearance and they believe blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So if she was a bit, what's the word? Naive. Say the woman's a bit naive as to how things go and not understanding she might be judged a certain type of way, or they might diminish her. Like they might think that you're not as intelligent because you look like you're wearing your clothes look a bit skimpy today. So I don't think you're that smart. And then when she goes through the whole trauma of she trying to explain something, but instead of them actually paying attention to what she's saying, they're just looking at her.
Yeah.
That might be something from another aspect of protection to think of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it makes you feel. I'm gonna let you quick talk. It makes you feel less than a man when that woman is undermining you, or you giving her the freedoms. Which most women be asking for guidance, bro. I done seen and had women and saw women turn the tide and said, if you would allow me to do this, I wouldn't have done it. Why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you say something? But when you take a liberal or what you like call it, free ball, go ahead and do what you want.
But see, I don't know. I think it's a bit unfair to call it liberal way though, because I think that's more like of a decency type of a thing. Because I think is because the one thing I noticed watching politics lately is a demonization of both sides in a way, by both sides. Like they'll say the conservative is evil or the liberal is evil, when in actuality it might not be the case. They just look at things two different ways. You know what I mean? So I know what you mean by talking about, because there's another. I know what you mean by that agenda though. There is an agenda, but I hate to just call it just straight liberal. You know what I mean? Because the whole that takes the whole half. When I think it's more like a segment of them, just like a conservative, like a segment of them that's just bad. You know what I mean?
Well, let me say certain liberals.
Yeah.
Certain liberals, okay, is promoting this propaganda where they're exiting men out the equation, and they're exiting men. They're saying that we can do the same role and job as a man.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When we were put here to have a certain responsibility, and the woman was put here to have a certain responsibility. Not saying that they cannot aid us in that situation. That's why I said earlier, if there is a meeting or how the house should be ran or how things should be structured, I'm gonna listen to their ideas. I'm not gonna say, oh, I don't want to hear enough from you, woman. I'm gonna listen and hear it. But I'm gonna have the final say so. You get what I'm saying? Yep. Because the irony of this is, for the women who don't listen to their man in the house, regardless of why and if, you know what I'm saying, she felt the need that she need to listen to him or not. It's an old cartoon I was watching. She give her husband a whole bunch of flack, right? I don't have to listen to you. But then she go to work and she listens to the boss. He's a man.
But there's an impetus for why she reads,
you know what I'm saying?
Listens to him. Yeah. Because if she doesn't, she's gonna lose a job.
Okay, and if she don't listen to her husband, she's gonna lose her husband.
Whether it was a man or a woman, the result will probably be the same. If it was a woman in that situation, she would still listen to her because of the fact that that's the person that signs your paycheck.
But we're staying on topic with the woman. We're saying that how she could be so defiant to you in the sense where you don't deserve that, but she can go on her 9 to 5 and respect her supervisor and her manager. No back talk, no question, no defiance. You get what I'm saying?
I feel that.
And she's a chef, right? And you say, maybe I just came home from work. Normally, you know, I would help you out in the kitchen. Sometimes you know that, but you know, can you fix me a meal? Go fix it yourself. But then she's a cook at a restaurant, and her supervisor gonna say, Yeah, before you go, can you fix me a plate to go? Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I'm on
Got
it.
it.
You like some iced tea too?
Yeah.
Let me say this one last thing. Like I wanted to piggyback on something that was said earlier and just kind of wrap it up. Is like for me, it's like, you know, when it come back down to a 10-year-old kid, if I'm your parent,
Hmm.
I have a certain, it's implied that I have a certain level of authority over you, and I'm supposed to be nurturing and guiding and protecting you and so on and so forth. That's all entirely different when I'm dealing with a grown ass adult. You
I
know what I mean?
disagree. I disagree. I
Where
disagree.
Do you
I
think?
disagree.
Don't you
God, I
think
hold on,
that?
disagree.
I'm gonna let you.
Don't
I'm
you
gonna
think that
let
they
you
have
finish real fast.
I
authority over,
disagree.
like there's an
Hold,
authority, like
I
say
disagree.
husband, and wife, and vice versa?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
hear me out real fast. It's like with a adult, there's a certain level of, you know, respect and freedom that you get because of the fact that you're adult. Now, I will say this: I am geared towards more modesty. Like I prefer a more modest woman, more simplistic woman. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily saying that I would enjoy seeing, you know, enjoy a Sexy Red, you know, that
Yeah.
artist Sexy Red type of woman.
Yeah.
But if I was in the case, if that was a situation where, you know, I had a wife that, you know, wanted to go out and dress like Sexy Red, I would just, you know, ask that there's mutual, you know, let's talk about it. Let's have, you know, have a conversation. Let me just show me, you know, let's make sure there's mutual respect and you understand my needs. And you understand my. It's just like we're adults. We should be able to talk it out and come to some common ground or middle ground. And
well,
without me, like I'm not in a relationship with a child. If I'm in a
but
relationship with a child, then I tell them you
it's
don't do
not.
this. Blah, blah, blah. You're an adult. You got to make your
But
own decisions.
I think you're missing my point. The point is that at one point in time, that woman was a child herself, and obviously she didn't have the right leadership because you wouldn't have this problem, right? Of fighting for control of your house when you're the protector and the provider. You get what I'm saying? If she got to, I'm gonna tell you the nature of a woman, and when the women see this, they're gonna agree. If she got to protect and provide, your ass is out the door.
Yeah, because what you
Rest assured, you're out the door because she may be confused about her position, but she ain't confused about yours. Trust and believe it. That woman that's your wife was somebody's child at one point in time, right? And the fact that she don't have the knowledge herself to know who she is and her value, that's like we remember, I'm jumping gun now, Muhammad Ali had an interview, and they said, why do you want your wife to go out dressing, what's the word again?
promiscuous.
Promiscuous, right? He said everything that God made, he had that had value. Diamonds, pearls. You got to dive deep in the sea to get a pearl. You got to dig to get a diamond. Everything that God made valuable a possession, he covered up, right? But it takes away its value when it's seen to the world. It loses its luster. It loses its value. You get what I'm saying? Even Prince came out with a song called Diamonds and Pearls. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if everyone can see my wife, right?
He's like everybody's wife.
Yeah, she ain't no value to me, man.
But is she a property?
That's like she say, I
No,
want to
it's
do
not
my
like
own.
a property. It's like you know, it's like
No, hold on.
not like I guess the thing is, I think a lot of people get confused with the whole thing, and it's like they call it property, but I think it's more like exclusivity type of a deal, like loyalty to that person, like this is only for her, this is only for him. You know what I mean? Type of
Exactly. It's not for everyone else to see.
right.
That's like OnlyFans. This is the thing I had with certain liberals. Okay, let me say certain liberals. When would you hit a brick wall, right? Because you say, okay, what's the difference? Going out there, honey, you win the argument. You don't want to listen to me, although I go out there and work my behind off. You know what I'm saying? I pay the bills. If somebody was to come in this house, first thing you're going to say is, go get him, protect us and the kids, right? But you're going to fight me because you want to wear a revealing outfit and come in the house at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? What did she say? Okay, he let me get away with that.
But see,
Baby, I was thinking about I was thinking about this too. I want to start an OnlyFans. Oh, you do? Well, I don't think that'll be in your best interest, sweetheart. And then you tell her why it's not in her best interest, right? And then she undermine you and do it anyway. And then you got millions of people seeing your wife. Look what happened to Anna 22. The whole world is clowning him because he let somebody give it to his wife. They're like, man, you lost your man card. And you know, naturally it's hurting him because he's saying this, he trying to fight off like, well, you know, we're porn, so that's a business. Nah, dude, you let somebody dig up in your wife. The whole world's seeing your wife. You get what I'm saying?
Some of those comments were strange
and
from Adam 22.
And the dude said, one dude said, yo, why would you allow your wife to go out like that? Well, you know, she can do whatever she want to do. Okay, she just dishonored your name and your children's name. That's because her ignorance, and she didn't want you to take leadership, your kid's going to have to suffer for that.
Right. That's right. Well, that's a lot.
Good session.
Yep. So this is Guess I Said. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know what I'm saying? Be a participator, don't be a hater. And the last one is I loved everybody's views on things. You know,
no doubt.
Let's say that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had good points and good views on why. You know, and let me clarify this: no one is being a tyrant. We're just saying, you know, man has a role, the woman has her role, the man has his role, and you know, speak to your wife with kindness and educate her. You know what I'm saying? Right. And always listen to your wife if she has some type of you know, a suggestion or something like that, because sometimes she could be right.
Because why would you marry a stupid woman?
Exactly.
Right.
So you know, this in this segment, the next segment is dealing with hip hop, the difference between the rapper and the MC. Catch y'all later. Peace.
Catch y'all later.